Wars usually end in one of three ways: total victory, total defeat, or complete destruction. History books are filled with stories of massive battles, final attacks, and dramatic surrender ceremonies. We remember explosions, speeches, and celebrations. But once in history, a war ended in a very different way. No final battle, no last missile fired, no surrender documents signed. It ended because one man made a decision, a single word, a single order: stop. And because of that word, millions of lives were spared. This is the true story of the war that ended because one man said stop. The war had already dragged on for years. Both sides were exhausted. Cities were damaged. Resources were running out. Soldiers on the ground were fighting not because they believed in victory, but because they were ordered to. Families back home were suffering, unsure if their loved ones would ever return. Yet despite all this pain, neither side wanted to be the first to step back. Why? Because in war, stopping can look like weakness. Military leaders believed that if they just pushed a little harder, one more attack, one more offensive, the enemy would finally break. But the truth was darker. Every new battle was changing nothing. Territory barely shifted. Losses kept increasing. And the future looked exactly the same as the past, only with more graves. This was a war trapped in a loop, and most people involved could see it. But only one man had the power to end it. This man was not a frontline soldier. He didn't carry a rifle or lead charges into battle. He was a leader, someone sitting far from the gunfire, but close to the responsibility. Every day, reports landed on his desk: casualty numbers, economic damage, civilian suffering, military requests for more weapons, more men, more time. And every day the numbers went up. What made him different from others before him was not strength or intelligence. It was perspective. He understood something that many leaders struggle to accept. Winning a war does not always mean continuing it. He began asking dangerous questions. What is the goal now? What happens after the next battle? How many lives are we willing to lose for pride? These questions made generals uncomfortable, because generals are trained to fight, not to stop. As rumors spread that the leader was considering ending the war, pressure exploded. Military commanders warned him, if we stop now, everything we sacrificed will be wasted. Politicians told him, our enemies will think we are weak. Allies feared betrayal. Enemies suspected a trick. Even civilians were divided. Some wanted peace at any cost. Others demanded revenge for everything already lost. This was not a simple choice. If the decision failed, history would remember him as the man who gave up. If it succeeded, no one could guarantee credit or safety. Yet every night the same reports arrived. More deaths, more destruction, no progress. At some point, leadership is not about listening louder. It's about deciding. The decision did not come during a dramatic meeting. There was no applause, no music, no cameras. It came quietly. After reviewing yet another report predicting massive casualties for the next operation, the leader reached a conclusion that shocked everyone around him. Continuing the war would not save his country. Ending it might. He issued a direct order through the chain of command. Not a suggestion, not a negotiation, an order. All offensive operations are to stop. At first, commanders thought it was a mistake. Some delayed. Some questioned it. Some refused to believe it was real. But the message was repeated. Clear. Final. Stop. The order reached soldiers in trenches, bases, and battle zones. Men who expected to fight the next morning were told to stand down. Weapons were lowered. Engines were shut off. Attacks were canceled. Confusion spread faster than bullets ever had. Some soldiers cried in relief. Others were angry. Many didn't know what to feel. On the other side, enemy forces noticed something strange. No attacks, no movement. At first they suspected a trap. Then hours passed. Then days. And slowly the truth became clear. The war had stopped. News of the decision spread globally. Some countries praised it as an act of courage. Others criticized it as reckless. Newspapers ran headlines questioning the leader's sanity, loyalty, and strength. Historians immediately began debating. Was this peace or surrender? Was it wisdom or fear? Did it save lives or delay conflict? But one fact could not be denied. Death stopped. Bombs stopped falling. Families stopped receiving loss letters. Cities stopped burning. Silence replaced chaos. Ending a war does not end problems. Borders still needed negotiation. Hatred did not disappear overnight. Politics remained complicated. But something priceless had been achieved. Time for diplomacy. Time for rebuilding. Time for healing. Years later, analysts would estimate that millions of lives were saved by that single decision. Lives that would have been lost, not for victory, but for stubbornness. The leader never claimed glory. He understood that peace rarely makes heroes. Today, textbooks still argue about this moment. Some call it the greatest act of leadership. Others still call it a mistake. But modern historians agree on one thing. This decision changed how the world thinks about power. It showed that strength is not always about pressing forward. Sometimes, real power is knowing when to stop. We often believe history is shaped by battles, weapons, and force. But sometimes, history is shaped by restraint. By a leader willing to disappoint generals. By a man willing to be misunderstood. By someone brave enough to choose peace when war feels easier. One man, one word. A war ended, and millions lived because of it. End screen question, very important for engagement. Do you think stopping a war is harder than starting one? Tell your thoughts in the comments.